Hey guys, Versatile YT here again for another video. So I've decided to create another Metal Slug Awakening playlist, which focused on guides in the game as I obviously lack those. So let's begin with the Shootout event, as we've been playing this mode since August 2023. Number 1. Preparation for Shootout. Preparation is very important, as you'll be able to set up key components needed to create a good impact in a shootout session. So first off, debuff lineup. Below is a table I created for you guys on how to line them up. It's important if they are set up this way, as it'll give you a plus 25% bonus damage. So with that said, with 3 club members playing together and the way debuff works, each needs to have 3 different debuff lineups. Like the screenshot below, we were able to utilize our damage, as we always use 3 different debuffs every time we switch to our next weapon. Next for preparation is character lineup. Let's first talk about Spec Ops in Shootout. Like most modes, 2 Spec Ops and 1 Firepower is still important here. They will be responsible in further boosting your damage in this mode, thanks to their talents consisting of team buffs. Haran, as you all already know about the technique regarding the boss. But other than that, Haran's buff, especially with the Ice Cone, is essential to the team, as it will provide 20% or higher skill damage. Irreplaceable because of his frozen battlefield ulti to make the 2 bosses join on the same side. Next is Kukik, and you obviously know why he's needed. Offensive stand will increase the team's attack by 25%. Just make sure that when you use Kukik's skill, the gauge below his HP must be red. That will activate the buff afterwards. Then Insight of the Wild will give the team 20% debuff damage once Kukik has inflicted any debuff to the enemy. Lastly is Saya. She's an essential team buffer as well to the team, where the Shark turret inflicts movement speed and defense deduction, which then increase the damage they'll receive by 20%, while the passive of her ultimate will deal 3% weapon damage. A total of 9% should you inflict 3 different debuffs to the enemy, which will always meet should there be different weapon lineup per member. That's about it. These 3 are essential in buffing team members. In most cases, the best combo here is usually Haran and Kukik, based from my experience. In my club, we have specific members only, who volunteered in assisting the rest of the club members to increase their score. Of course, we obviously choose those who has Kukik or Saya in their characters. Now for Firepower, I would recommend using characters that gets most of their damage from their skills. That would be Eva, Trevor, and Scarlet. These characters tend to get 30 million damage or higher on shootout events, assuming that we have a good Spec Ops support on the side. Most of the time, it's usually Scarlet getting much praise in this event because of how strong her ultimate is. Now let's proceed with equipment and cores. So for weapons, here's the table again. With the recommended Firepower heroes mentioned, the first weapon is very important. Ignite for Trevor, while Wound for Eva and Scarlet. So prioritize those, as you'll be able to use it more than once in the boss stage. Remember, once all 6 weapons are used, it will loop back to the first weapon onwards. As for the cores, the important setup is for the Spec Ops. Basically, it's the usual core setup for team buffs as shown on the table below. Regarding Firepower cores, you may use the same one you're already using for your main. Cores are also as the status symbols do show in-game, which means their effects are working, just not the attributes. I repeat, attributes don't work in this mode. Last preparation to take note of is the club technology. Be aware that this requires lots of gold, so spend wisely, as you'll be needing gold when upgrading your weapons and cores. The availability of shootout-specific upgrades will also vary on your club's level. If your club is level 4 and above, then you should be good. Explosive, Reagent, and Deadeye are the important ones, as those will increase damage in shootout event, while the Precise Remedy is only to increase damage resistance with the Poisonous Fog. So to recap, here are the things you need to prepare for shootout event. Now let's go with first phase tips. Survive as much as you can. Collect reagents or potions in this stage. The max is 70. It doesn't matter who collected the most, as the potions will be considered a team buff rather than individual buff. In most cases, 2 players is enough to collect all 70 reagents. I've tried collecting all 70 by myself, however it requires more effort. Team play is very important. There's a change of scenery here from a factory-themed area to a Metal Slug 2 Mission 5 themed area. The first scene has a total of 57 potions to collect, then the rest will be on the second scene. Take note of that in case you missed some potions. Lastly, once all 70 potions have been collected, dead or alive is no problem. Dying, however, has an advantage in positioning to the boss area, which we'll be discussing shortly. And now with the boss phase. You'll only be dealing with one boss in the first phase. From this part, make sure all team members use their ultimate and skills to the boss. This way the buffs are present at the same time the firepower gets more damage. This is important for the ultimate, as you'll be able to use it a couple of more times later on. Observe. Remember when I said dying in the first phase is important? Look at my Scarlet. Compared to the player who didn't die, I have the upper hand, as I'm already stepping on an attack speed platform. Don't do what I did here. Think ahead so that you'll easily transition to the other side where the boss will go. Despite that, I got 8 million in the first phase. This can go beyond 10 million, by the way, depending on your execution. Now let's discuss Haran timing. Before, you can easily execute his ultimate skill on the 57th second. Now it varies. It can be on the 58th second or 59th second. To identify around what time you should do this, it depends on when the original boss will go back to the stage. Here's a table. Now let's have a demonstration. Blocked by Kukik's image, but he went down by 70 seconds remaining, which means the freeze should be executed by 57 seconds based from the table earlier. And that's how it's done. Regarding platforms, blue or green color is plus 20 attack speed, while orange is plus 20 attack damage. Once you stepped on it, you can go down afterwards. Buff will last for 5 seconds. You can't have both. If, for example, you step on attack speed, then to attack damage, you'll only get the attack damage. Also, depending on which weapon you have, it may resonate well with the buff you currently have. Attack damage for high ROF weapons such as Gatling and HMG, while attack speed for weapons such as shotgun, bazooka, etc. So aside from what we've discussed so far, let's start from the beginning of the boss battle again, and I'll discuss the other important things you can do. The boss will usually give you a signal that it will dash to the other side. From that warning, prepare yourself to easily transition to the other side. This way, there won't be any wasted opportunity to hit the boss. Once the original boss goes up, you may fire on the same area from where the clone boss will go down. This will inflict damage despite the boss not present. Let the Spec Ops kill the brutes. Firepower will waste bullets here as they have no additional score. As mentioned earlier, Haran's ice cone is important. As a firepower, make sure to always hit the boss from where the ice cone is. Survive as much as you can. Dying here would waste lots of potential damage to the bosses. You have the option to not step on the platforms and stay underneath the boss, which is the safest area. Or if you're good at avoiding hits, take advantage of them. So another reason why exhausting your skills and ultimate from the beginning is important is because you'll be able to use your ultimate a couple of more times. Do not delay as much as possible. Of course, this excludes Haran. And that's all there is to it for the boss phase. So once you've applied all the guides I've mentioned so far, you should be able to get 30 million and above as a firepower. Again, the spec ops or support won't get as much. They are only there to support you. This will be the quickest part. So there are 2 rewards, one is post-game. Max is 30 million. You'll be able to get almost 700 general core parts for that. So in case you got boosted but only got less than 30 million, a retry wouldn't hurt as long as your supports are willing to. Second reward is in this screenshots area in case you failed to gather all rewards. Always remember that they will send the unclaimed rewards to your inbox, so don't worry about that. That's about it. Hope you guys learned something from this guide. Like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos.